mugwumps. They're everywhere. They're speaking out. Board meetings, City Hall, Town Square, Courthouse, State House, even the White House. They must be stopped. They are disruptors.
Welcome, everyone, to Mugwump Media. Welcome to Disruptor Central. Now, folks, we welcome you in this evening. Get a cup of coffee, relax, get ready for some good conversation. Kevin, are you excited about tonight's show?
I'm excited about tonight's show.
Absolutely. We've got a great friend here. Actually,
Yes.
Two great friends here. Last week, of course, 2 weeks ago, we had a great time with Representative Lisa Durnell and her husband, Dean. They were here hanging out, had some great conversation. This week, we are tickled pink to visit with our good friends, Missouri Representative Burt Whaley, District 138, and his very beautiful wife, Leah. Good to have you two. Hi, Leah. Welcome. Now, we visited with Burt before, and back in January, I believe, it was one of our first interviews. We did Burt, and I think we actually had, about the same time, we did Mike Moon.
Yes.
And it was so valuable. We released Mike's first because Mike had been in the Missouri House and the Senate for so long that he really has a good grip on how it's run. And I'm telling you, folks, there's a lot of dysfunction going on. Missouri is a red state, but we have a system, and I think Burt will probably address some of that this evening, but a system that is just not allowing the people's voices to be heard. We have, what was it? Mike said, he said, you got a king and a prince in the House and the Senate that moves everything around, but then nobody else really gets to represent their people. And that needs to change. It really does. Anyway, we'll probably talk about that a little bit this evening. And of course, when we interviewed Burt, he talked about just as we were sitting here before we started the cameras and the mics, talking about how so many of the folks that voted on the floor that very first day, January 8th, they voted for the Speaker of the House. And lo and behold, it was their very first vote, and there were 10 of them that chose to vote for a conservative candidate, a man named Justin Sparks. Now, the other fellow, just 10 of them out of all of that bunch. And how many are there in the House?
163. We have two representatives now that are not in seats.
Yes.
So 161.
Yeah. So 10 people that basically, I mean, it seems like a no-brainer, right, Kevin? You vote for somebody with a 97% conservative record, someone who was a sophomore. He'd been there for 2 years. But instead, the establishment candidate, the one who ultimately was elected or chosen, was a man named John Patterson. Now, Patterson is from around the St. Louis area, or Kansas City area. Okay, he's from the Kansas City area, sorry. But basically, he tends to be a rather moderate conservative. He voted in 2023. He voted 30% of the time, 33% of the time for, Democratic, basically voted with the Democrats. So at best, he was a very moderate person.
Well, and I'll never forget that he got 100% of the present Democrat vote.
He did. Oh, yeah, they were cheering and happy when he won. And anytime that's happening, you got to think something's going on. Anyway, the 10 stood up.
Yes.
Mike Moon was so proud of them, he called them the Brave 10. And that started a chain of things for us. At that time, we were so moved by everything that happened that day at Jefferson City. I mean, you walk in there and you could just feel, like I told Burt and Leah, just a stronghold of really evil. There's some craziness going on there that is not the conservative, godly principles that governs really the majority of people in the state of Missouri. And I was overwhelmed by that. And when we saw what happened that day, that was one of the reasons that we started the podcast. I think that lit a lot of brush fires of liberty that day.
Yes.
I think that ultimately it was a good thing. Anyway, whenever they voted for him, they did receive some blowback from the decision. There were committees that were not given and other things that happened. But through the whole session, the 10 held their ground, which is amazing. And like I said, 6 of them were first-time representatives. And you know, the most amazing thing, I touched base with Lisa and Burt frequently over the last 2 or 3 months as the session went on. And of course, Burt and Leah, we go to the same church, so that was easy to be able to visit with them. Lisa, she and I sort of talked back and forth on the phone. One of the things she said one day, and Burt echoed the very same thing, he talked about how they met. And this little group, you know, of the Brave 10, and not all of them necessarily make up the bunch that's there now. I think there was 1 or 2 of them that didn't stay. But the rest of them meet twice a week. They have dinner together, have breakfast together. They pray. They give counsel to each other. They're all Christians. That was the thing that just amazed me whenever we did the interviews. The fact that they all talked about the reason they were there. It just really kind of blew me away. It wasn't because they wanted to be a politician at all. The number 1 and number 2 things that they all said is that they wanted to serve God, and they felt strongly that God had brought them to Jefferson City, every one of them that I interviewed. And the other thing is that they loved their constituents and they wanted to represent their constituents. It was amazing. But the fact that they all get together, discuss the upcoming bills, give and receive counsel from each other, that is an earmark of a movement of God, I think. Mike Moon called them all the Brave 10, but they call themselves the remnant. God is good, and he is obviously in this.
Yes.
Burt.
Yes.
Give us your take on that.
The remnant?
All of it.
Okay. Well, the first thing, when we look at what we're doing in the grassroots in Jeff City during the interim, all of this unique blend, soup of government, of governance, of meeting our needs, first of all, but also, more importantly, when we call upon the Lord. We need to call upon the Lord daily. And we spoke frequently of our faith as the remnant. In fact, I think that's kind of where the remnant name came from, because it's very, very Christian-based, very biblically
Biblical.
based, because
Yes.
you have the remnant in the Old Testament, you have a remnant in
always
the
a
New
remnant.
Testament. There's always a remnant.
Yes.
And that remnant starts a movement, as you said. I thought that was wonderful.
Oh,
And
yes.
we would love to see the 10, the 9, however you want to look at it, the remnant, grow. And I think it is going to grow next year.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Getting organized, working with each other, building trust, which is huge. My trust circle was extremely small when I went up there.
Yes.
But through interaction, through relationship building, through prayer with one another, we really developed bonds quickly. In the relationship that we developed, we talked very candid about the different bills that we were looking at. We didn't always agree. Many times we did agree, and it was good to have confidence in your votes. At first, it was actually pretty easy because we were only hitting a couple votes a day and reading through, making sure we knew what we were. If I could not read a bill, I voted no. If I didn't know everything in that bill, I voted no. There were several bills that I probably wish I'd voted differently. And as I do more and more of an evaluation, I wish I had maybe listened to the group a little bit more, but there was something that I just couldn't quite grab onto to vote yes or to vote no, one of the two. But that relationship, that connection with the remnant was one of the most important things. But the most important thing was prayer.
Yes.
Prayer with my wife.
Yes.
That was, our relationship, you would think it would be more strained because of the uniqueness of this. Well, I'm not going to call it a career, because I have 2 other careers, military and education. This is a mission. This is a mission field.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Sorry.
You're right.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about that with Lisa, just
Yes.
a little bit, kind of.
Yeah.
Because she was talking about just frustrated,
Right.
that only 26 people voted whenever they, the bill for the, good grief, the special session.
SB
SB3.
SB3, yes.
She was frustrated that only 26 people came out and supported the amendment that was put in by Justin.
Yes.
And I said, you know what? That's 26 people that
Yes.
might not have voted.
That is 26 people.
If they had not been watching you all. She said, oh, yeah, they ask us questions. I said, of course they're asking you questions.
Right.
They're watching you all.
Yes.
It is a mission.
I did not think that the 9 of us would make a difference, but we did to some
Yes,
degree.
you are.
It's a little bit of a difference, but it is a difference.
Yes.
Going back to prayer, so Leah and I prayed together. We also prayed and we studied the Word together. And that was really cool. And there's strength in that. There's power in that. And then praying with others, praying with the remnant, the team, praying with other fellow believers, and praying with others. I mean, guys, I had a lobbyist walk into my office. He didn't mean to walk into my office. He meant to walk into somebody else's office, because there's 3 offices that start with 201. I'm 201C. He was in the wrong office, but I noticed he had a limp when he came in, and he was a nice fellow. We talked a little bit, and I said, "I noticed you have a limp. Do you want to pray over the limp?" So we did, and he just lit up. He lit up. He got a little teary-eyed. He walks out. He comes back the next day. He says, I see him in the hallway. He goes, "Burt, I'm limping less. I walked a bunch yesterday."
Huh.
And I'm not saying it was a healing. I'm not saying that, that there's any special healing powers, although I do believe that God does heal people through prayer. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But it was the relationship that resulted in that prayer.
Yes.
He didn't want anything from me. I didn't want anything from him. It was just a relationship through prayer. I had the Bulletproof. Kathy Jo Loy put together a program for Bulletproof one Wednesday night. And several of us went to it. More than half the remnant was there. And some ladies were talking about their experiences through abortions and how it was very devastating to them until they came to Christ and were forgiven of their perception of sin. I'm just going to say it that way. And it was really a neat night. I was a little overwhelmed by that. And actually the Stephanie, who is the kind of the leader or the founder of this organization, talked to me because she noticed I was moved by it. And so when we got to talking, and she goes, "Well, what are you here for?" And I said, "Well, I'm here for saving babies." And I said, "And now that I've listened to this, we need to add saving mommies."
Yes.
Because we can't save babies without saving mommies, and we can't save mommies without saving babies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
It's a circle.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's cool stuff.
Yeah.
And so then the next day I'm coming out of session. I think it's the end of the day. I'm not really sure. I just know I was coming out of session. And I ran into the ladies. And we got to talking. We just sharing different things. And I noticed one gal was kind of standing blading. It's called blading. So blading is you move sideways. That means you don't feel entirely safe. It's just a thing that you notice when that they teach you that in the military police or civilian police, this blading technique. And so I noticed that, and I noticed she was engaging, but she wasn't necessarily fully engaging. And I know this is going to sound weird, but I'm going to say it anyway. So the inner voice said, "Well, you need to ask her for a hug." And I'm thinking in my head, nope, I'm not going to hug a strange woman. I'm not even going to ask a strange woman that if she needs a hug. I'm sorry. And then it happened again, pretty much the same response. And then it happened the third time. So that inner voice. And I finally said, okay. And I said to her, I said, now this is completely out of character for me, but do you need a hug? And she said, yes. Her whole defensive nature dropped. I gave her a side hug. And then we prayed. And then I got a message from Stephanie. She goes, Burt, you helped break through. And I don't know what the statement that she made after that. All I heard was breakthrough, but there was a breakthrough with this young lady. And she then emailed me a letter that was absolutely amazing. To think that just a simple prayer and a simple response to, the inner spirit saying, ask her for a hug, would break a bond that she had. It was really cool.
That is.
It is.
What you're putting in my mind as you're telling this is the ministry of the Apostle Paul and Jesus' ministry, because so many times the people around him were focused on the big mission and the whole church or the whole world, and Jesus and Paul both would take that personal time with someone, literally just go off to the side. And it reminds me of the child, when Jesus called the child up. And, that a lot of times we get so involved in something that we forget about the people that we're dealing with face to face, and that personal relationship and that witness we have with these people. How are we going to influence them for the kingdom?
Yes.
If we're not interested in them. And I'm impressed, Burt. That really makes an impression on me, what you're sharing there.
Well, when you asked her, do you want a hug, that broke the wall down. And then she felt safe, and she could actually,
yeah.
You signaled to her, that you understood and you wanted to comfort her.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was a little uncomfortable with the process.
Of course.
But to know what the results were was fabulous.
Yes.
I mean, Holy Spirit speaking to, my inner spirit. Then responding to it, even when I didn't want to, and to know that had that much of an impact on her, and Stephanie's great, and she was very complimentary. I just don't know if I can really take credit. So,
well, like Leah
I think
said,
that's a God thing.
One of the things Leah said as we were talking about another matter, sometimes you step forward and you do things tentatively and thinking, okay, God, I guess I'm supposed to do this. You're looking around thinking, is there anybody else? Anybody else? Right. Okay, I guess I better do it. God's telling me to. And sometimes when you step forward tentatively, God just rushes in and fills.
Yeah.
He fills that spot.
Yeah, the freshman team, the whole freshman team, would get together and go visit like the Secretary of State or other government officials, the lieutenant governor, the governor. And so when we went to visit, we ended our visit with them with prayer. So we prayed over the governor. We prayed over the lieutenant governor and we have a pretty good freshman size, or a large freshman group this year. And we prayed over these state officials, and they loved it.
How many prayed? How many were there that were actually praying?
Well, it was one person praying.
But I mean, how many were there gathered in prayer?
I would say 20, 25. Mm-hmm. It was really neat. I'd say David, lieutenant governor, David was the most moved. I ran into him at an event later when we were eating barbecue, and he said that was just one of his highlights, was being prayed for by the freshmen. And praying that I had the opportunity. I was just so humbled by it, but I got to pray in front of the whole house.
Wow.
Yeah. Twice, once during the regular session and once during the special session. And
That's amazing.
He said I was a little long-winded, but but yeah, it really, that's just a neat opportunity.
That's what's going to break the strongholds.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
God comes in and softens the battlefield.
Absolutely.
Whenever we go to the library meetings, at the longest time, I mean, there was some crazy stuff going on. And I can remember over the text chain, I would send out a prayer. And I would just pray that God would go before us and soften the battlefield,
Yes.
soften eyes, soften ears, soften hearts, and protect the warriors that were coming in.
Right.
Because you all are. Now you're joyful warriors, but you're warriors, and you're sending the word out before you to soften the battlefield.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I got teased about praying before every vote. Matter of fact, I apparently
Lisa thought it was fun. She
did she?
loved it. Oh, she loved it. She thinks you're awesome.
Oh my. But one time, I guess I got a little too carried away, and one of the representatives, who is quite humorous, he goes, "Burt, stop praying, vote, then pray again," because they were closing the board and I hadn't voted yet.
Yes.
And it was actually a pretty easy vote, but I was just praying over the session, and
Yes.
and like I said, I got a little carried away, and thank goodness. And he was a couple rows over, so he yelled loud enough for multiple people to hear. So, but that's really neat. So
That's awesome.
Daniel had a little issue with praying in public.
yeah,
It's God's people. We don't pray enough. You know what? I really think we
agree.
need to be. We always jokingly say, "Well, I guess we need to pray about it." And someone says, "Well, it's come to that." That's not our last resort. That is where we should begin. Everything
absolutely.
with prayer. Yes.
This was kind of your. Oh no, you're great. This is good stuff. But this was kind of the task that I set upon you. I said, "What are some things? Can you give a few things that you think takeaways from the last session, from what you've learned so far?" And I know you've already given some nuggets. What are some things that you feel like Missouri citizens and your constituents need to know? What's the most important stuff they need to know?
Most important that they need to know is they need to be more involved. The grassroots have got to come out of the woods and get into the field.
Yeah.
And then we need to teach them how to do that.
Yes.
I was just having a conversation today with an individual, and he said, "How do we help you? Help us." And I said, you need to follow the bills. Mm-hmm. I need feedback.
Yeah.
The more feedback I can get, the better off I am.
Yes.
The better off we are. The better off, because when I look at a bill, when I look at a vote, I look at first, is it a violation, or does it honor or not honor the Word of God? Does it honor or not honor the U.S. Constitution, then the Missouri Constitution and Missouri statutes, revised statutes? Does it honor or not honor the Republican platform? Is it the will of the people? Is it the role of government? Is it feasible? Is it feasible just through legislation? Is that really what we should be doing? And that goes kind of back to the role of the government. But is it even possible to get it done this way? And is there any harm? Does it cause harm? And then the last thing is are we being fiscally responsible?
Yes.
Are we adding to the tax burden? And there's also not adding to the bureaucracy too. Those are the things that I look at when I look at each bill, and we talk about all those when we're
Yes.
going back and forth and debating back and forth as a remnant when we meet in the evenings and things of that nature. But that knowing bills, being involved, I think, is where the grassroots, and there are grassroots that do feedback.
Yes.
I got a tremendous amount of feedback from the Abolish Abortion group.
Yes.
I got a lot of feedback from actually a small group in Highlandville and a church. There was actually 3 churches that gave me a tremendous amount of feedback.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
So that's good to hear.
Yes.
I'll be honest with you. I don't quite get it. I got more thank yous than I ever thought I would get. And I didn't get a whole lot of berating. And I expected a little bit more berating. Because some of my votes were, very, very conservative.
Yes.
But I think that's where most of the grassroots is at.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty conservative.
I think Missouri as a whole is very conservative. I think we're there's so much misinformation out there, and it even affects us. We realize that all the 3-letter news networks that we're familiar with that have been around so long, we quit listening to them.
Right.
But still, there's that's not the only bad news we get or the inaccurate news we get. There's inaccurate news all around us.
There is. There's a lot of misinformation. Up there, there's a lot of misinformation.
Yes.
Perceptions. Weeding through which is the most accurate.
Yes.
It's a challenge.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I think I said it earlier. If I haven't read a whole bill, if I don't know it, I'll vote no. And I don't like doing that, but how can I vote on a bill I don't know what's in it? And there's some bills that I voted on that, I don't know if I can say this over the radio, but or it had a little poo-poo in it. I called it the poo-poo.
I think poo-poo's okay.
Poo-poo was
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
And I voted on a couple of those, and one of them I absolutely regret voting for. The other one I still can say, okay, there was so much good in this. And that was really it was the gold and silver. It was a bill that I had filed. Bill Hartwig carried it on the House side. He did all the heavy lifting. I just got to ride along for the ride. But Mike Moon also had the bill on the Senate side. That bill made it into an omnibus bill.
Of course they do.
Yes, and I it was one of those poo-poo sandwiches. But when we look at the gold and silver, it wasn't that I was in love with my own bill, because actually Bill Hartwig was the one, Representative Bill Hartwig was the one running it. But I believe that the gold and silver being legal tender will outweigh what was also attached to that. Now, that was my decision. It was supported by a variety of folks, but that's the challenge on some of these. And I really struggled with that,
That's
even
Lisa
though
said.
that was in there. Well, yeah, Lisa and I, we sit right next to each
Lisa
other.
said it was
She sits
awful.
in front of me, and we were going back and forth, and she voted no, I voted yes. And she had great reason to vote no.
Yeah.
And I had some reason to vote yes. But
And you shouldn't be put in that position. The fact that they're putting this stuff
omnibus bills, yeah.
in these omnibus bills, they're not constitutional,
No,
first
they're
of
not.
all.
They're not.
And basically, the Democrats are sticking a lot of that stuff in there. Why is that even being allowed? Really?
Oh, wow. I don't know. I mean,
We have a supermajority.
we do have a supermajority, but it doesn't look like a supermajority.
No, not at all.
It's. I'll be honest with you. It's a little confusing. When I look
Yeah.
at the board, and when I say the board, it's where it shows all the votes. And sometimes I'm thinking, okay, everybody's voting for this bill. Is it really a good bill? Because the Democrats are voting for it, and the
for it.
and so I went
Sometimes
back
in higher numbers.
Yes.
I saw that.
Yes, I went back and looked at some of the bills that we all voted yes on for the majority. I mean, vast majority. I mean, we're talking 98%, and several of them were good bills. They were good all-around bills. Just because the Dems voted for it doesn't mean it was a bad bill. So there were some good ones. There were other ones that I'm thinking, man, what did I miss? Why do they like this bill?
Yep.
Yes.
But I'd already cast my vote. Now you can change your vote. And one time I changed my vote when somebody let me know that there was a major project for Stone County and Taney County that was on that appropriations, and I changed my vote.
I'd say there's a lot of that goes on, isn't there?
And yeah, the budgets. I did not do a good job on the budget bills. I didn't. I'm embarrassed, to be honest with you, on my votes for for the appropriation bills. I felt more comfortable why it was on the House side, but after it went to the Senate, I did not realize that much change could occur.
Oh, yeah.
And I was frantically trying to figure stuff out. I was trying to look at these bills. So I learned a lot during that process, but I probably will be voting differently next year.
Experience.
Yep.
Right. And when we look at expanding our budget from $50 billion to $52 billion, now the governor did some good cuts. He's a very skilled fellow. He
Skilled.
is skilled.
That's a good
fellow.
word.
And he's approachable, by the way. He's actually quite approachable.
Okay.
But I thought I saw the dynamics of the budget process for the first time. And I don't fully comprehend it, but I know who to go to now to really process through all of this. So that's one of my big tasks during the interim, is to really gain knowledge from these folks and be better at my voting for budget.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I kind of got off track a little bit, but the takeaway is understanding the system.
Yes.
Because the system is very unique. There's a lot of tradition in it that I don't fully agree with.
Right.
As you mentioned earlier, Mike Moon's analogy is the prince and the king, or the king and the prince, both in the House and the Senate. So you've got four people that have a tremendous amount of influence, control.
Yes. They pretty much control.
Yes, the movement of bills.
Yes.
Yes.
And I was fortunate. Now, I don't know what it looks like for a freshman in most cases. The freshman had a unique availability to bills, moving of bills this year, more than most. And the Missouri Prenatal Equal Protection Act was one of my bills, and Justin Sparks also had the same bill, and Mike Moon had the companion bill on the Senate side. That was Justin's was 1072. Mine was 1417. They were House bills, so they would go into Missouri revised statutes. But it was basically identifying the equal protection of a fetus, a baby, from conception has the same rights inside the skin as it does outside the skin, no matter if that baby is wanted or not wanted.
Yes.
And that was the inside the skin and outside the skin. I'd never said that before until the exec session, or sorry, not the exec session, the original committee. Okay. And I believe this is the first time that bill had made it to the exec session.
It is, because I did a piece on that.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes. It had never gone that far.
Okay, good. And I was really excited. And it was conversations. Now it had issues. They really didn't like the word murder and in the language of the bill, and that threw things off. And there was a very odd amendment that was presented and then withdrawn. So it was kind of interesting to watch all those dynamics.
Right.
But it was on Passover.
Yeah.
The Jewish festival of Passover. That's the week we presented it, which is so cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I was very pleased with even though it didn't go through.
Yes.
I was very pleased that it got that far and that we've got some really good feedback on that bill. And then I went to a summit several weeks ago.
Yes. Yeah.
The Foundation of Abolish Abortion. And they helped me process through some of what they went through. We actually got further than most states with this particular legislation. But we are going to have to figure out how we're going to handle the word murder in the bill.
You learn a little bit every time, don't you?
Yes, you do. And this was my first time.
Yes.
And it's a neat process. In fact, I'm meeting with Mike Moon, another gentleman, Justin, and myself. I'm not meeting with myself, but we're going to do. We're doing a Zoom call later on.
Sure,
this
you'll
month
be there
to process through what we're going to do different. I'm so excited.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. It's a good mission.
Yes.
And what you said, you are on mission.
Yes.
That's exactly what we were talking, and we didn't come out and say it in that language, but that's what we talked about with Lisa. You'll enjoy the video with her from last week. It's good. Kevin, did you have anything else?
Well, I do.
Okay.
Burt, on Friday we meet. We have a Bible study,
Yes.
and most Fridays Burt's there. And I'll tell you, it's a group of men, and we meet and we pray.
Good stuff.
And it is so good to hear Burt's input at the prayer meeting, because it kind of helps us to kind of know what's going on. And even as much time as we get to hear Burt explain what's going on, it is so hard to follow. This has got to simple up somehow. This confused language, Satan, his goal is always to deceive. And the more information you put in something, the harder it is to sort it out. But I long for the day when we get enough of a remnant up there to where we can go ahead and vote on this one, and then vote on that one.
Yes.
And then vote on the other one. You know what? Is there? I know you've just been there. You're not even there a year yet, but do you hear anybody talking about getting things simplified?
Everybody wants a single subject bill.
Yes.
Verbally.
Mm-hmm.
But action-wise, I don't see it. But I'll be honest with you, I'm guilty. I voted for several omnibus bills.
Yep.
Because that was what was placed before you.
Yeah, I know, and I struggled with that.
I mean,
But it's constitutional to have a single subject bill. It's
Yes.
unconstitutional to have. Now, granted, you can have an omnibus bill that is actually constitutional. It's possible. I don't know how frequent it actually occurs.
if it all has to do
Right.
with the same subject.
It does.
Yes.
Correct. Right. And the original subject,
Yes.
which is also another perception issue.
Right.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, but it's not, I'll be honest with you, it's not going to change until there's enough remnant there to make
I
a
agree.
difference. And there's enough grassroots pressure. There's got,
Yes.
we have to change the grassroots
Yes.
to where we are working together. They want division. And when I say they, I don't really know who the they are, but we have to get consistency,
Uniparty.
continuity, and work together, because
Yes.
the opposition is unified. And I don't even exactly know what the opposition is.
Well, it's a
to be
uniparty.
honest. Well, it
Really, in the beginning of the show, where we have the funny little donkey and the funny little elephant standing in the background, then you got Mr. MAGA Eagle, this little guy hanging out front. Uniparty. It's from both bunches. They want to keep things exactly the same.
The root of this, I'm just going to go ahead and say it again. I keep saying it, but I think this all hinges on the church.
Oh, yes.
As a church, we have to step up. We have to start being involved. We have to start hearing from the pulpit. We have to start influencing the world. God has called us to change the world. We're supposed to witness to the world. We're supposed to be an example to the world, and we're still following, it seems like, but not everybody.
The reason that people got on board over the last few years and ended up blowing everything up and putting Trump in, nobody figured it would. They tried to cheat and they couldn't. The reason they did is because there's so much media now out there, and a lot of it has groundswelled up that is telling people. You've got personalities on air telling people in simple terms, putting up chalkboards, telling them in simple terms what's going up. We need that.
Yes.
We need that. It's too hard. I told Lisa, I got so frustrated because one of the things Kevin and I are trying to do is do Cliff Notes. We're trying to go on once a week and tell people what they need to hear in just a few paragraphs. Tell them in as short and easy as we can. Get them excited. Let them know what's going on, because it's hard unless you're just sitting there watching. I told Lisa, this was what I said to her. I had everything together for that stadium bill. I mean, I sat there and I studied. I went on Shield Maidens. I went on Act for Missouri. It's hard unless you're sitting there like some kind of geek all day long watching things. It's hard, especially toward the end. They're going through like crazy.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
And I told Kevin.
14 bills one day.
Yes. And that's not right. No. And I told Kevin, I said, okay, I got it ready. Let's get it recorded tonight. We'll send it out tomorrow. They can call their representatives. They voted on it that day.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things, it's too hard. It's too hard.
And too fast.
And goes too fast. we were trying very hard to keep up and get information out there, and they make it hard, and I think it's on purpose.
Yes.
Right. So there could be a situation where, let's say we did a third read, which is our last reading of, so we have perfection. Sorry, I got to start over. We have perfection. Perfection is the last time we really look at it. We can, during third read, you can add amendments, and it does happen, but the majority of the massaging of the bill occurs during perfection. You can have, if let's say you do it on Tuesday, you do work with perfection on a bill, you could be voting on that on Thursday. It can go a little quicker than that even, but that's generally you have 48 hours to really process a bill. I voted no on a bill. I don't know if it's a good bill or not because I couldn't understand it. Yeah. So the language is getting complicated. Now, granted, it may be that if it was biology, I would understand it.
Well, it's not just the language; it's the process.
Yes,
and there's smoke and mirrors involved in these things, and the more convoluted it gets, and the process becomes what everybody focuses on, and all at once, what was this about? I'm not even sure anybody really knows what they're voting on when it gets right down to it, and that confusion has to be done away with. We have to get somewhere to where we're clear.
Right. Simplicity is important. It's going to take an act of God.
It is
a movement of the people, and representatives and senators holding their ground.
And I think we're seeing that movement. I think it's
that's the real
starting.
thing that you're up there to do.
Yes,
your mission.
Yes, I tell you, I would love to see Governor Kehoe say, guys, I'm not going to sign another omnibus bill. The only bills I will sign will be single subject. That would be really sweet.
That would.
And sir, if you're listening, you can call me into the office and we can talk about this.
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But we have to start with prayer.
Yes.
And he's a praying man. He is.
Yes.
He is a praying man. Yep. He really appreciated us praying over him.
Well, that's good.
That's
really
good.
Cool.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes. Well, very good. You know what? I'm a little excited. I think we're gaining ground, Burt.
I think we are.
And I think we're going to see a lot of changes over the next year. I think next year, I think there's a foundation been laid, and I think we're going to see God start to really move through our House, our Senate, and through our churches. That's when it starts in the churches, it's going to swell everywhere.
That's how the Revolutionary War got rolling.
Absolutely.
Or revolution
over many years.
Yes.
A lot of people don't realize how long it takes for this stuff to be accomplished.
Right. And 3%.
Oh yeah.
3%ers.
Yep. Absolutely.
I know you could talk about that.
We keep on chipping away at trying to get stuff out on the air.
Yes.
We'll see.
Well, we probably better stop right there. I think.
All right. Well, folks, thank you so much for joining us today with this conversation with Burt and lovely Leah, the quiet lady over there. So sweet. I tell you, wonderful, dedicated servants like Burt and Leah and Lisa and her husband, Dean, give me a lot of hope.
Yes.
And all of them. Mm-hmm. I tell you that the folks, the 10, the remnant, they're awesome. They give me hope.
Yes.
I'm telling you, folks, there is a lot of hope for the future of Missouri because God is doing something.
That's right.
He really is. He's doing something. We hope that you'll join us again next week, folks, and bring some more people in with you. You guys can come and Sunday afternoons, get a cup of coffee or tea, put your feet up, and enjoy some more conversation. And, we're always going to bring you more news, more information, and hopefully we're always going to bring you more encouragement because that's important.
Yes.
It's a long battle, but we can keep it going.
Thanks for fighting, Burt.
Well, thank you guys for having me. Thanks for what you're doing, for educating the grassroots and those that listen. I so appreciate you guys.
Thank you. We appreciate you all.
Yes. We're in it together.
Yes, we are.
God has put us together.
Amen to that.
Yes.
And you folks are in it with us too.
That's right.
Remember to like, remember to share, comment, keep it going, spread it on the wind so that everybody will know. And we're always going to try to keep you informed, inspired, and folks, always stay independent. God bless.